Hi, welcome to creating a podcast for the flipped classroom, where we're going to take a flipped lesson, and in this case it's going to be an audio file, and we're going to create it and allow students to listen to this at home for the lesson and do basically the homework, the flip in the classroom. When designing a flipped lesson and using an audio file, we first need to decide what our objectives are for that lesson. So what are the learning outcomes for each student? You need to determine what you want your students to be able to do. Determine which of these objectives are best achieved through inquiry or direct instruction. And if you find something that's really good with direct instruction, then create a video or audio file or a podcast. You can create it, or if you don't have time, you can always search for other educators' videos and files. Once that's completed, you want to provide students access to the files. You'll want to post them online or put them on a school server, or you can burn the files to a DVD or flash drive for those students that don't have access to the internet. When the students listen to these files at home, that's basically listening to the lecture portion. That is the flip. When they're in the classroom, then you'll want to design engaging learning activities such as problem or project-based learning, packets with questions or worksheets, or experiments students will be doing. You'll measure the students' outcomes by creating some type of assessment. They could be computer-generated systems such as TED-Ed, you could use Moodle or SurveyMonkey. Once those assessments are completed, you'll compare the students' outcomes to the objectives and see if students have met them and learned what was stated within those objectives. If the students did not meet the objectives, then just redesign the lesson to make it better and differentiate it for the students. So what is a podcast? A lot of people think it is just an audio file, but that's not true. Actually, the term podcast came from Apple and the iPod because of the abundance of audio files being listened to on the iPod. Actually, a podcast can be a PDF file, an audio file, or a video file that can be listened to on a computer or a portable media player. You can also subscribe to podcasts, and actually this is a type of podcast where it's a storyboard with images with audio added to it. When creating a podcast, it's best to keep it short so you don't lose the attention span of the student. 5 to 10 minutes in length is adequate, and don't go over 15 minutes. Create a podcast for each topic. Script your podcast ahead of time. However, if time is an issue, just go ahead and record it right there and then. You can always go back later and edit the podcast. Just think of your time frame, such as, do I need to have the perfect podcast or do I need it now? When you are recording, record in a quiet environment, and it's best to use a headset. After you are done recording, go back and edit. When you are satisfied with your file, you will publish it to the electronic audio file. Decide where you want to store audio files, such as hosting online sites, school servers, or will you burn them to a DVD or flash drive for students who do not have internet access. There are many different tools one can use to create a podcast. It's recommended you use a headset microphone, such as a Logitech one, but there are many other types of microphones. An audio recording software such as an Audacity, which is cross-platform with Windows and Mac, Movie Maker, which is used for Windows, GarageBand, which is a Macintosh product, and iMovie, which is also for Macintosh. Sometimes you may want to add background music, but be careful in doing so. You don't want to distract the student from what is really needed to be learned. And images. You can create podcasts actually in PowerPoint, save them as JPEG images, and then add the audio files to them later. That is what you are listening to now in viewing. However, today we are just going to be working with just the audio file of Audacity. Okay, so let's get started. Let's go to the Audacity website at audacity.sourceforge.net. We'll download Audacity for Windows. We're going to run the program and then save it to the desktop. Now, if you do have a Macintosh, you can also download it for Macintosh. Once it's saved to the desktop, it's right there. You can save all your projects, go back and edit those projects, and publish from Audacity. Once you have your software downloaded from Audacity, you are ready to go ahead and you want to script your podcast ahead of time. So write out your script. Once you're ready to go, you'll want to record your podcast within the Audacity software. With your Audacity software open, you'll click on the record button. That is the red button you'll see in the menu bar. Once you hit that button, you're ready to speak in through your microphone of your headset and record your narration for your audio file. Once you're done with your recorded audio file, it looks like this. You can see the sound waves and the peaks and volumes of your audio file. Then you're ready to go ahead and edit that file. To edit a file for a later date, you'll go up to the menu, click File, Save Project As, give it a name, and then save it to the Audacity files. Then you can go back later and work on that same file with the editing. When you are satisfied with your audio file, you're ready to publish it. In order to publish it, you'll go up to File, you'll click on Export, and then type the file name. You want to save the file as either a WAV file, an AIFF file, or an MP3 file. And you can see there's many to choose from, and we're going to talk about these 3 different files in length. These are the 3 formats that you can publish your file in. A WAV format, which is a waveform audio file, an AIF, which is an audio interchange file format, or an MP3, which is the most popular one, which is Motion Picture Expert Group. That's what MP stands for, and it's an audio layer from an MPEG-2 file. We won't get into the specifics of it. The WAV format is an uncompressed file. It's a first digital copy. Being it's a first digital copy, it is the best digital quality. The downsides of it, it's a large file. It's 2 to 3 times larger than an MP3. So it's really not a good choice for slow internet connections. And that's something to keep in mind of what your students have access to. The next file format is an AIFF format. It's an uncompressed file, again, making it another large file. The AIF format is similar to an Apple Macintosh equivalent of the WAV file. It too has high quality sound. Even though it's an Apple Macintosh format, both Windows, PCs, and Apple Macs recognize the format. Again, since this is a large file format similar to the WAV, it's not great for slow internet systems. The MP3 format is a popular file. Since it is a compressed file, the file space is smaller. This makes it a great choice for those with slow internet connection or limited hard drive space. The only disadvantage is because it's a compressed file, bits of file data get lost. However, very unnoticeable. So decide what technology your learners have or how your files will be stored in order to make the right audio format choice. Once you've completed your audio file, you can attach it to emails or have others download it off the server. Decide what you want to do to give students access. Notice the difference between the sizes of the files. Both the WAV and AIF files are over 11,000 kilobytes larger than the MP3 files. Now you're ready to send your files to your learners. Share your lessons with your learners, and then you'll be ready to guide them within the classroom.